In the rugged landscape of northeastern South Africa, near the town of Mokele-mbembe, lies one of the most puzzling and intriguing geological anomalies ever discovered. A giant footprint measuring approximately 1.2 meters or 4 feet long, embedded in solid granite. This footprint has sparked significant debate and curiosity among scientists, historians, and enthusiasts alike. The giant footprint is located in a remote area of northeastern South Africa, a region known for its rich geological formations and ancient history. The footprint is impressively detailed, with clear impressions of toes and an arch, as if left by a colossal human-like being. The precision and clarity of the print, preserved in granite, a rock formed from the slow crystallization of magma beneath the Earth's surface, adds to the mystery. Granite is an igneous rock, known for its hardness and durability. The formation of a footprint in such a material is perplexing, as granite typically forms deep within the Earth's crust under high pressure and temperature conditions. The apparent age of the granite, estimated to be between 200 million and 3 billion years old, further complicates the understanding of how such a footprint could exist. One of the more conventional theories suggests that the footprint could have been made by an ancient human ancestor. However, the size of the footprint poses a significant challenge to this theory. At 1.2 meters long, the footprint suggests a being of enormous size, far beyond the proportions of known hominids. This discrepancy has led some to propose that it could be evidence of a yet-to-be-discovered species or a mythological giant. The mysterious geometric shapes surrounding the Rishat structure. The Rishat structure, also known as the Eye of the Sahara, is a remarkable and mysterious geological formation located in the Sahara Desert of Mauritania. Spanning approximately 45 kilometers or 28 miles in diameter, this circular structure has captivated scientists and enthusiasts alike. Recently, the advent of satellite technology and tools like Google Earth have allowed for a more detailed examination of this area, leading to the discovery of strange geometric shapes surrounding the Rishat structure. The Rishat structure was initially thought to be an impact crater due to its circular shape. However, subsequent studies have revealed that it is actually a highly eroded geologic dome. The structure is composed of concentric circles of sedimentary rock, uplifted by geological processes. The Eye of the Sahara has also been associated with various historical narratives. Some have speculated that it could be the location of the lost city of Atlantis, as described by Plato. While this theory remains controversial and widely debated, it adds an intriguing layer to the mystery of the Rishat structure. The advent of Google Earth has revolutionized the way we explore our planet. This tool allows anyone with an internet connection to view high-resolution satellite images of virtually any location on Earth. Researchers and amateurs alike have used Google Earth to uncover previously unnoticed details in remote regions, including the area around the Rishat structure. Users of Google Earth have identified several geometric shapes in the vicinity of the Rishat structure. These shapes include perfect circles, straight lines, and rectangular formations that appear to be unnatural. The precision and alignment of these shapes suggest that they could be the remnants of human-made structures or other purposeful arrangements, rather than random geological formations. One of the most compelling theories is that these geometric shapes are remnants of ancient human settlements or constructions. The Sahara Desert was not always as arid as it is today. Thousands of years ago, it was a lush and fertile region, capable of supporting large populations. The geometric shapes could be the foundations of ancient buildings, roads, or other infrastructure built by civilizations long lost to history. Another theory posits that the geometric shapes may have been used for astronomical purposes. Ancient civilizations often built structures aligned with celestial bodies for calendrical or ritualistic reasons. The precise alignment of some of these shapes with cardinal directions and celestial events supports this hypothesis. They could have served as observatories, calendars, or places of worship aligned with the stars and planets. If the geometric shapes are indeed remnants of ancient human activity, they could significantly alter our understanding of prehistoric civilizations in the Sahara region. This discovery would suggest that advanced societies existed in the area, capable of building complex structures and possibly engaging in sophisticated astronomical practices. It would prompt a re-evaluation of the timeline and extent of human development in Africa. The study of the Rishat structure and its surrounding anomalies also offers opportunities for advances in geological research. Understanding the formation and erosion processes that created the Eye of the Sahara and the geometric shapes could provide insights into similar geological formations around the world. It would help scientists better understand the dynamic processes that shape our planet's surface. The mysterious aerial school encounter. On the morning of September 16, 1994, the children and teachers at Aerial School in Zimbabwe started their day as usual. Nevertheless, an occurrence during the morning break would finally seize the interest of the whole population. A total of 62 students would report to their teachers that spaceships had landed near the school. In addition, a group of individuals of short stature exited from the spacecraft, clearly visible to the witnesses, who, interestingly, all provided identical descriptions of the event. On the 16th of September, the instructors at Aerial School in Rua, Zimbabwe, had a planned meeting while the students were having their morning playtime. Despite the presence of a single adult overseeing the children at the tuck shop, they were essentially left unsupervised. While they were enthusiastically shouting to one another in the schoolyard, a number of them observed a massive silver disc in the sky above. In addition, there were numerous smaller aircrafts maneuvering around the main object. Instantly, a momentary silence enveloped the schoolyard as every child directed their focus towards the shining objects in the sky. As the mysterious object flew directly above, it appeared to be preparing to touch down in close proximity to a tiny hill located on the other side of the fence surrounding the schoolyard. The children sprinted towards the barrier in order to obtain a more advantageous view. Despite being part of the school, the site was inaccessible to the children due to ongoing clearing operations. While observing, a diminutive being, approximately 3 feet in height, abruptly emerged from the spherical entity. The children later characterized the creature as being abnormally thin and with exceedingly huge eyes. He descended from the aircraft and proceeded to stroll towards the fence where they were observing. It's been suggested that they emitted a synchronized exhalation of surprise, as upon taking just a few steps, he became aware of the presence of the youngsters and halted his movement. Meanwhile, a different individual observed from atop the vehicle. After a brief period of intense eye contact, the first being turned around and returned to the spacecraft. Shortly thereafter, the spacecraft disappeared, along with the smaller crafts in the sky. Several children would enter the school premises in a state of distress, shedding tears and saying that something terrifying was happening outside. The region was filled with tales of demons and malevolent beings, and a few of the smaller children firmly believed that this was indeed what they had witnessed. The older children, despite their continued unease, were undergoing a phenomenon that was subsequently characterized as telepathic communication with the being that stood in the field before them. A significant number of individuals already possessed prior knowledge of what they had witnessed. Amidst the chaos, the school's teachers were hauled out of their meeting. One of them would later express that they simply heard them emitting loud and continuous screams. Another individual expressed initial skepticism and acknowledged that although they believed the youngsters had seen something, they were inclined to seek a more logical and sensible explanation. The school's headmaster acknowledged the children's encounter, but originally deemed it prudent to leave the problem unresolved. Subsequent to the weekend, the school started receiving a series of phone calls from anxious parents. Each individual would pose the identical inquiry, asking what had occurred to cause such intense fear in their children. Cynthia Hind, in conjunction with Dr. John Mack, would engage in individual conversations with the youngsters. Each would possess identical information, and Mack firmly believed in the children's genuineness and the legitimacy of the situation. He would assert that the witnesses recounted these events with the authenticity and vividness of personal experience. Several children who reported receiving telepathic connection from the ominous figure before them would have intriguing revelations. One witness would explain the event as suddenly feeling as if a vivid mental image was rapidly passing through their mind, a psychic message, a form of communication transmitted through the mind. Another individual informed Hind and Mack that the mysterious beings had come to inform them that they are not adequately caring for the planet. Another witness had a perspective that was even more ominous. They asserted that they had vivid mental images depicting the apocalypse, characterized by the complete destruction of all trees and the inability of individuals to breathe. These specific pieces of information are consistently found in a large number of UFO sightings and have persisted for several decades. It is crucial to bear in mind that most, if not all, of these children would have had minimal to no exposure to UFO experiences in significant depth. It's important to note that television was still a limited platform, far from the extensive reach it has achieved today. Essentially, it is improbable that every single one of the 62 children, ranging in age from 6 to 12 years old, would have collaborated and sustained such a deceit. Others expressed similar empathy towards the circumstances recounted by the children. Undoubtedly, other individuals who have scrutinized the case subsequently arrived at the same conclusions, that the youngsters, regardless of what they witnessed, were unequivocally speaking the truth. Tim Leach, the BBC bureau chief for Zimbabwe, would personally meet and interview the majority of the children who had observed the peculiar incidents that occurred that morning, and he would do so immediately following the sighting. He would assert that the occurrence and the testimonies of the youngsters who observed it provided him with a fresh outlook on life, the cosmos, and everything. It appeared that there were explanations provided for why the pyrotechnic performance was actually a meteor shower. Nevertheless, numerous witnesses reported sightings of these fireball-like vehicles around the region on that particular day. Additionally intriguing is an occurrence that transpired a mere 2 days prior, a mere 25 miles in proximity, at the Pier House School. That morning, approximately 100 schoolchildren observed an unusual flying vehicle descending at an unusually low altitude, seeming as if it were preparing to touch down. In addition, the radio system utilized by the school bus service experienced a complete outage during the sighting. Furthermore, at least one of the youngsters who observed the incident at Ariel School had previously spotted an unusual phenomenon in the sky and playfully referred to it as a UFO before concluding that it was likely an aeroplane. Nevertheless, she internally acknowledged the peculiarity of the thing, likening it to a cigarette. It was only after the events at the school unfolded that she started to really consider the possibility that the object she had witnessed that morning was the same one that had recently landed near the school. Additionally, it is worth noting that the accounts of the creature that had moved away from the spacecraft include specific characteristics of a dark and shadowy figure. In the realm of the unexplained, two phenomena have captured the public's imagination and sparked intense debate: unidentified flying objects and shadow people. While both have been reported independently, a growing number of accounts suggest a curious connection between them. Witnesses who encounter UFOs often report seeing shadowy humanoid figures, commonly referred to as shadow people, during or immediately following these sightings. Witnesses of shadow people during UFO encounters consistently describe the figures as dark, human-like silhouettes without any distinguishing features. These shadow beings are typically seen in peripheral vision and often vanish when directly observed. They are reported to move quickly and silently, sometimes appearing to glide rather than walk. Encounters with shadow people are often accompanied by intense emotional and physical reactions. Witnesses report feelings of dread, fear, and unease, as well as physical sensations such as chills, a feeling of heaviness, and an unexplained drop in temperature. These reactions suggest that the presence of shadow people exerts a significant psychological and physiological impact on witnesses. Emily Trim, a witness, would later describe the sound as a high-pitched frequency followed by a flash before the craft became visible. She would also clarify that she was uncertain about the duration of the episode. The descriptions of the colors that rapidly arose, including blues, reds, and greens, are commonly reported in numerous other UFO sightings, along with the observation that they seem to encircle the perimeter of the spacecraft at a high velocity. Particularly intriguing are the assertions made by one of the witnesses, who reported that a group of individuals gathered to inspect the area where the unidentified flying object touched down. Despite the prohibition, she reported that people who entered the site discovered charred grass where the enigmatic object had been. Both the teachers and many of the children's parents first had difficulty fully trusting the reports the children shared that morning. During a documentary, some 18 months after the occurrence, when questioned about their feelings towards others who doubted their account, the children expressed sadness and frustration, with one youngster even suggesting that such skepticism would cast doubt on the truthfulness of their claims. Truly, had this event been observed by only one youngster, or even two or three, such rejections might have resulted in the incidents being disregarded before it could spread to the neighboring town, let alone the rest of the world. The presence of numerous witnesses to the incident provided a source of mutual support and validation regarding their observations. In addition to the previous statement of a sighting at a school 25 miles away, Cynthia Hind also gathered other reports of UFO activity and sightings of peculiar creatures in the aerial area prior to the incident. During the period preceding the aerial school event, a mother and her small son asserted that they observed an unidentified flying object during daytime hours. Arguably, the most disconcerting of these observations, however, originated from a truck driver who asserted to have witnessed peculiar entities by the side of the road one evening during his journey. The enduring impression of the aerial school UFO incident is that, although the true nature of the peculiar craft and its much more peculiar occupants remains uncertain, it is quite likely that the students did indeed witness an unidentified phenomenon on that September morning in 1994. Every kid, who will now be in their 30s, asserts that what they witnessed that morning was undeniably genuine. Several individuals who observed the peculiar, darkly dressed individuals from a close distance assert that they will never forget the intense gaze directed towards them. Undoubtedly, one can only speculate on the frequency with which these witnesses have been roused from their slumber by recollections of the peculiar creature they encountered, not only during their formative years, but also in their adult lives. In addition, not only individuals involved in UFO research, but also experts in child behavior argue that it would be highly implausible for numerous youngsters of such a tender age to unanimously agree on and consistently maintain the same narrative, especially for an extended period of time. There is little question that the children were totally honest in recounting the events of that morning, and they continue to be that way even now as adults. Regardless of whether the meeting was intentional or not, it is important to reiterate that the witnesses received identical telepathic signals that morning, which have also been reported in several incidents of close contact. Themes that center on the improper utilization of technology and the harm being inflicted onto the world, and ones that require attention. The most compelling explanation for the aerial school encounter is the extraterrestrial hypothesis. The detailed descriptions of the craft and beings, along with the telepathic communication reported by the children, align with other accounts of UFO encounters. The messages about environmentalism and the dangers of technology also mirror themes reported in other close encounter cases. The involvement of credible researchers like Cynthia Hind and Dr. John Mack further supports the possibility that the aerial school encounter was a genuine mysterious event. The aerial school encounter underscores the importance of open-minded inquiry in the study of UFO phenomena. The willingness of researchers like Cynthia Hind and Dr. John Mack to listen to and validate the children's experiences helped bring the incident to light and ensured that it was taken seriously. This open-minded approach is crucial for advancing our understanding of unexplained phenomena and encouraging a rigorous investigation of such events. The messages reportedly conveyed to the children during the encounter are profoundly relevant to contemporary challenges. Whether or not the encounter was of advanced origin, these messages resonate with humanity's ongoing efforts to address environmental degradation and the ethical implications of technological advancement. As of right now, the aerial school UFO encounter remains one of the most compelling and mysterious incidents in the history of UFO sightings. The consistency and sincerity of the children's accounts, coupled with the involvement of credible researchers, suggest that this was a genuine encounter with an unexplained phenomenon. The incident challenges our understanding of reality and underscores the importance of keeping an open mind in the face of the unknown. Mokele-mbembe, also known as Killer of Elephants or the Behemoth, is a legendary creature that is said to inhabit the dense rainforests of Central Africa, primarily in the Republic of Congo. The creature is described as a large, semi-aquatic reptile with a heavy, armored body, a long neck, and a single horn on its forehead. The Mokele-mbembe is said to be extremely aggressive and territorial, and is known to take out any creature that enters its territory, including elephants. According to local legends, the Mokele-mbembe is often sighted near rivers or water sources, suggesting that it may be a semi-aquatic creature. Some reports also suggest that the creature may have a distinctive roar or bellow that can be heard from a distance. Those who have seen it have described it as looking similar to a triceratops. Interestingly, when shown photographs, the local tribes of the Congo said it looked very similar to the triceratops. Gathering evidence of this creature has been tough. The tribes native to the Congo region have claimed that they are tough and that they fear nothing. One of the last reported sightings of the creature was seen in Kenya, though many experts believe that if the creature did at one time exist, then it has long been extinct. In 1954, Lucien Blancou, a French colonial wildlife inspector and frequent correspondent of Bernard Heuvelmans, presented the first information that may have been known about the creature in a Mammalia article on forest rhinoceroses in the then French colony of the Republic of the Congo. The inhabitants of the northern region of the Kela area, particularly the Pygmies, are familiar with a woodland creature that is bigger than a buffalo and nearly the size of an elephant, but it is not a hippopotamus. The creature's footprints are rarely observed, yet it instills more fear than any other perilous beast. The sketch provided to Monsieur Millet depicts the footprint of a rhinoceros. Christian Lanoël, a French hunter who later became a researcher into the unknown who studied mysterious creatures, gained recognition for his research on tigres de montagne and water lions in Chad and the Central African Republic. During his visit to Lake Tele in 1974, he also documented claims of a creature referred to as the lake rhinoceros in the Republic of the Congo. In 1980, Roy P. McCall and James Powell visited Imfondo and Ipina on a preliminary expedition to gather information about the Mokele-mbembe. During their trip, they encountered reports of another mysterious creature in the area, described as an aquatic mammal with horns. The initial reports revolved around a peculiar creature resembling a rhinoceros that was responsible for the demise of elephants. However, Joachim Mameka, a teenage local informant, provided a somewhat more elaborate account. Tales about the Emelantuka were shared by Makal and Herman Registers, who conducted parallel journeys to the Republic of the Congo in 1981 to investigate the Mokele-mbembe. The study, authored by Registers, was initially released in 1982. He argued that the term Emula natuka meant eater of the tops of the palms. However, he also received a report of a creature resembling a rhinoceros that takes down elephants, known as the horned Emelantuka. In 1981, this animal was accused of causing 3 elephants to lose their lives. Their group experienced another peculiar encounter during our time in Boa. The catastrophe occurred around 3 kilometers northeast of the settlement in February 1981. 3 adult elephants were found deceased and afloat in the lake. The cause of the expiration for all individuals was 2 punctures inflicted at the abdominal center. The bulls still possessed their ivory, removing the possibility of poachers or local hunters searching for food. The villagers characterized the animal responsible for these passings as a peculiar rhinoceros-like beast that lives in the adjacent jungles. They were escorted to the location and they recorded the surroundings on camera. Upon their arrival in Boa, they were informed of this tragedy, which had evidently not been known to the inhabitants of Ipina or mentioned to any earlier expedition that had been through the area. Macal's excursions gathered accounts of the creature from a diverse group of persons with various geographic origins, enabling him to provide a detailed description of the creature in his book. Emelantuka is the term used by the Bomitaba people to refer to this species. Macal's research also revealed that the term Mokele-mbembe was occasionally used to refer to several unidentified creatures, with the Emelantuka being the most frequently associated one. According to Bill Gibbons, the AKA people are the sole group in the area known to engage in this naming convention. Macal hypothesized that the Emelantuka and the Mokele-mbembe, due to their etymological confusion, had acquired characteristics from one another. This might potentially account for the Emelantuka's substantial tail and the Mokele-mbembe's horn. While on expeditions in Cameroon, Jean-Claude Kerhoas and Michel Ballot have uncovered and captured images of carvings that portray the Emelantuka, showcasing distinct elephantine ears. 2 representations of the creature were discovered in 2012 and 2013. These images were created by Jean-Claude Thibault in the 1980s or 1990s in the Central African Republic. They similarly feature the animal with frilly ears. A graphic portrays the creature tearing apart the abdomen of an elephant. The illustrations were created as part of a collection portraying the folklore of Dzanga-Sanga National Park, located in the southwestern section of the Central African Republic, adjacent to Cameroon and the Republic of the Congo. This area is home to the AKA people. Bill Gibbons doubts the reliability of either of these portrayals as accurate descriptions of the creature, adding that the locals have been encountering it for hundreds of years. The Mokele-mbembe, as described to Mokele, bears resemblance to the Mokele-mbembe in terms of its body structure. It has a torso that is either the size of an elephant or even greater, with sturdy, straight legs and a robust tail resembling that of a crocodile. Mokele believed that the creature's tail was intended to be shorter, and the skin of the animal is characterized as resembling that of an elephant, without hair and scales, and typically having a brownish or grey hue. Nevertheless, the head and neck exhibit a reduced length and increased size compared to the Mokele-mbembe. The Mokele-mbembe is characterized by its prominent, solitary horn that is prominently bent and positioned on its head. According to local sources, this horn bears a striking resemblance to the ivory tusk of an elephant. The creature is often shown in local art with a set of ornamental ears that resemble those of an elephant, albeit in a lower size. Mokele was informed that the footprints of the creature resemble those of an elephant, featuring 3 distinct toe impressions or claw marks. There are no reports of any decorative features or raised lines on the neck. The creature is reported to be an aquatic creature, occasionally venturing onto land to forage for food. According to reports, it is classified as a herbivore. However, Mokele observed that the Mokele-mbembe showed a preference for consuming the lianas and their leaves rather than the malombo fruits. The creature is notorious for its highly violent and irritable nature. It dispatches elephants, buffaloes, and hippopotamuses that mistakenly enter its domain by forcefully shredding, stabbing, and puncturing them with its horn. Recent discoveries of unusual footprints in the region have reignited interest in this creature, suggesting that the Mokele-mbembe might be more than just a myth. In 1966, Atelier Yvon Riedel, a French wildlife photographer, discovered a sequence of tracks with 3 toes each on a steep and muddy riverbank located in the northeastern region of Lubomo in the Republic of the Congo. Subsequently, he characterized them as having a width of approximately 10 inches. At first, the person mistook the footprints for those of a hippopotamus. However, they took a photograph of the clearest imprint and didn't think much about it afterwards. It was only until they researched the creature that they realized the 3 toes on the track resembled those of certain neodinosaurs. Upon closer examination, the footprints revealed several intriguing features. They were tridactyl, with 3 large clawed toes, and showed signs of significant weight distribution, suggesting a hefty creature. The depth and spacing of the prints indicated that the animal possessed considerable size and mass, consistent with descriptions of the Mokele-mbembe. The stride length between the footprints also pointed to a creature capable of both terrestrial and aquatic movement. The discovery of the footprints aligned closely with the accounts of the local Baka and AKA tribes. According to their descriptions, the creature resembles a rhinoceros, but with a longer neck and a more pronounced, singular horn or tusk. Historical accounts from early explorers and missionaries in the Congo also reference sightings and encounters with large, unknown beasts resembling the Mokele-mbembe. Notably, reports from the early 20th century describe a creature that fits the profile of the Mokele-mbembe, lending further credence to its possible existence. These accounts, coupled with the recent footprint discovery, suggest a continuity of sightings over a substantial period. One of the most compelling theories proposed by researchers is that the creature could be a living fossil, a remnant of prehistoric fauna that has somehow survived in the isolated and largely unexplored regions of the Congo Basin. Some speculate that it could be a surviving member of the ceratopsian family, which includes triceratops and other horned dinosaurs. The discovery of the footprints provides a tangible piece of evidence that could support this hypothesis, suggesting the presence of a large, previously unidentified species. The potential existence of the Mokele-mbembe highlights the incredible biodiversity of the Congo Basin, one of the most ecologically rich and yet underexplored regions on Earth. Discoveries like these underscore the importance of preserving these habitats, which could harbor other unknown or endangered species. Conservation efforts are crucial to protecting the delicate ecosystems that support such diverse and unique wildlife. The footprints of the Mokele-mbembe serve as a compelling impetus for further exploration and research. Future expeditions, equipped with advanced technology such as drones, remote cameras, and environmental DNA analysis, could yield more definitive evidence of the creature's existence. Collaborative efforts between scientists, local communities, and researchers are essential to unraveling the mystery of the creature. As of right now, the discovery of the Mokele-mbembe footprints in the Congo presents a fascinating and genuine puzzle that challenges our understanding of the natural world. Whether the creature is a surviving relic of prehistoric times, a new species yet to be classified, or a misunderstood known animal, the evidence suggests that there is still much to learn about the hidden corners of our planet. Annually, a multitude of individuals capture mysterious videos, leaving us with more questions than answers. A captivating video was captured in the airspace above Texas. Mariam Buzo, the person who captured the clip, sent a message inquiring whether anyone has observed any peculiar occurrences in the skies above Houston. Oddly enough, it didn't take long for other individuals to come forward and provide specific accounts of witnessing a similar phenomenon. One person reported observing a stationary object in the sky while flying into Houston. They mentioned being unable to record any videos due to the rapid movement of the object, but their description aligns with what Mariam had captured. Mariam saw that the object remained motionless in the sky for a duration of 15 minutes. She noted that the item lacked any illumination, resembled the surrounding clouds, and was clearly distinct from any form of wildlife. Subsequently, several individuals proposed the possibility that the phenomenon could be attributed to a group of avian creatures traversing the vicinity. However, the prevailing theory is that the video does not correspond to any known animal species, mostly due to the absence of observable movement in the captured object. As the post gained popularity, an increasing number of Texas residents chimed in, expressing their opinions. Many of them claimed that a similar object was observed in the sky last year, bearing a resemblance to the current one. This thing lacked lights, emitted no sound, and appeared to remain stationary. Inhabitants throughout the United States have been observing peculiar objects over an extended period of time. An increasing number of individuals have reported the presence of big black triangles, according to the National Institute for Discovery Science. This organization has seen a growing trend of individuals across the United States reporting sightings of these black triangles each year. According to their study, the United States is presently undergoing a surge of sightings of flying triangles, which may have escalated during the 1990s, particularly in the latter half of the decade. The wave persists, and the deployment of the flying triangles is occurring in a conspicuous manner above and in close proximity to areas with high human density, especially in the vicinity of major interstate highways. Since the initial observations, other individuals have proposed their own hypotheses regarding the nature, ownership, and origin of these phenomena. Officials and locals in Peru have said that a mysterious incident took place on the night of August 29th in the Peruvian province of Chincheros, specifically in the district of Ocobamba. Oddly enough, this happened around the same time as mysterious entities were seen throughout the area, causing some of the locals to suggest that they may be behind what happened. Many have said that the event has been covered up, but local residents have expressed beliefs that the notorious Chupacabra may be responsible. Upon discovery, the two farmers were surprised to find what they did. Each sheep had a conspicuous and profound cavity in its head, while the lambs had their eyes extracted. Upon further investigation, it was revealed that a significant number of sheep had also undergone the removal of certain organs. The distressing sequence of events began with farmer Emilia Ruiz Santos, who tragically discovered 16 of her sheep scattered on the ground just outside the enclosure where they had spent the night. Notably, another farmer named Segundina Quispe, residing in Palomino, faced the same distressing ordeal when 14 of her sheep were found in the same condition, mirroring the unsettling circumstances observed by Emilia Ruiz Santos. After receiving complaints, the Ocobamba police station promptly responded by sending their members along with civil defense agents from the municipality of Ocobamba to the affected area. In order to determine the cause of their passing, a coordinated effort was made with the National Agricultural Health Service. It was of utmost importance to thoroughly investigate this incident, as it had a profound impact on the local community, as stated by Okobamba County Mayor Henry Vilches Arango. This comprehensive response demonstrates the commitment of the authorities to address the concerns raised and ensure the well-being of both the residents and the livestock in the region. The speaker also confirmed that, apart from the holes found in their heads, there were no further signs of injury on any of the sheep. This unsettling event took place in the morning, resulting in the tragic passing of more than 30 sheep. The exact reasons behind this incident remain unknown, leaving the community in a state of bewilderment and concern. Prior to this occurrence, such an unprecedented event had never taken place in the region, leading to a sense of disbelief among the entire population. As news of the incident spread rapidly throughout the community, residents began speculating and attributing the passing to the infamous Chupacabra, a mysterious predator renowned for its attacks on animals. The incident in Okobamba and its resemblance to cattle exploration has captured the attention of many. In both cases, the removal of organs from the animals is a common occurrence. Upon further investigation, representatives from SENASA, the National Health and Agricultural Food Quality and Safety Service, confirmed that they thoroughly examined the sheep. Their analysis led them to conclude that the cause of their passing was not due to any disease, but rather attributed to a wild animal attack. This finding sheds light on the mysterious circumstances surrounding these incidents and adds another layer of understanding to the peculiar phenomenon occurring in Okobamba. Several lambs in the Andean highlands, located near the mentioned area, are experiencing brain injuries, including puncture wounds, as well as injuries to their eyes, characterized by severe damage or even loss. Others have come forward with similar encounters throughout the area. In the heart of the Peruvian highlands, a farmer named Juan Garcia found himself thrust into a puzzling and eerie mystery. As he tended to his flock of sheep one brisk morning, he made a chilling discovery that would send shockwaves through his community and ignite fears of the legendary Chupacabra. Juan Garcia, a hard-working farmer in the Andean region of Peru, rose before the sun each day to tend to his small flock of sheep. The farmer said that his routine was simple and familiar. He would feed the animals, inspect their health, and ensure they were safe from predators. However, on that fateful morning, as he approached the grazing sheep, he noticed something disturbingly unusual. The Chupacabra legend has fueled fear and intrigue across communities, especially in rural areas where livestock are essential for survival. Tales of inexplicable livestock passings and sightings of the elusive creature have contributed to the lore surrounding the Chupacabra. Upon discovering the sheep with strange holes in them, Juan Garcia immediately contacted local authorities and veterinarians. The incident garnered significant attention in the region, as many villagers began to speculate about the involvement of the Chupacabra. Veterinarians and animal experts conducted thorough examinations of the affected sheep, analyzing the holes and the surrounding tissue. Their findings were perplexing. The wounds did not match the patterns of common predators in the area, such as foxes or birds of prey. The legend of the Chupacabra, like many folklore traditions, holds immense power over communities and individuals. It serves as a cultural framework for understanding and interpreting the unexplained. In the case of the sheep, the Chupacabra legend offered a narrative that resonated with the eerie and unsettling nature of the injuries. Folklore allows communities to grapple with the unknown and the mysterious. It provides a means of coping with fear and uncertainty by attributing events to supernatural entities or forces. In Juan Garcia's village, the Chupacabra was not just a creature of myth, it was a symbol of the inexplicable and a source of communal solidarity in the face of an enigmatic event. In the realms of Latin American folklore and paranormal mysteries, few creatures have captured the imagination as profoundly as the Chupacabra. This enigmatic entity, whose name translates to goat sucker in Spanish, has carved out a lasting legacy as a fearsome and elusive predator, terrorizing rural communities and leaving a trail of mystery and intrigue. The Chupacabra is believed to have originated in the latter part of the 20th century, with its earliest reported sightings occurring in Puerto Rico in the mid-1990s. These initial accounts described a creature that exhibited peculiar characteristics, including sharp fangs, red eyes, and spines along its back. Most notably, it was said to prey on livestock, particularly goats and chickens, by draining their blood through small, precise puncture wounds. The legend quickly spread across Latin America and beyond, fueled by reports of livestock mutilations and mysterious animal deaths attributed to the Chupacabra. While the creature's physical description has varied over time and across regions, certain key traits, such as its blood-sucking tendencies and elusive nature, have remained consistent in the lore. The Chupacabra has become a fixture in Latin American folklore, weaving its way into the narratives of rural communities. As a symbol of the unknown and the inexplicable, the Chupacabra has served as a means of explaining unexplained livestock deaths, disappearances, and illnesses. In these stories, the Chupacabra embodies the fears and anxieties of rural life, where livestock are often central to economic survival. The legend offers a way to grapple with the uncertainties of rural existence, attributing misfortunes to a supernatural predator rather than the complexities of nature. In various locations, there have been sightings and reports of a different variation of the Chupacabra. Unlike the typical Chupacabra, these creatures were smaller in size and walked on all fours. They bore resemblance to canines, although they lacked any fur on their bodies. Biologists who examined actual specimens concluded that these animals were either coyotes, dogs, or hybrids of the two. The bizarre appearance of these creatures was attributed to a condition called mange, which is caused by an infestation of mites. It is believed that these canines turned to attacking livestock because the infestation severely weakened them, making it difficult for them to hunt their natural prey in the wild. The news of the disturbing incidents involving Puerto Rican farm animals quickly spread, leading to a wave of complaints from farmers in several other countries. Mexico, Argentina, Chile, Colombia, and the United States all experienced a similar pattern of mysterious explorations among their own farm animals. The perplexing nature of these incidents left the farmers baffled, as they struggled to find a plausible explanation for the sudden and widespread loss of their livestock. Discussions are abound regarding the alleged top-secret scientific experiments conducted by the US government within the confines of the El Yunque rainforest. This particular notion isn't considered too far-fetched by certain Puerto Ricans, who already harbor feelings of being exploited by the Americans. In fact, they entertain the possibility that the US could have concocted a blood-sucking creature within the laboratory and subsequently unleashed it upon the local farmland, leading to significant damage and disruption. Such conjecture stems from a deep-rooted skepticism and mistrust, fueled by a history of perceived mistreatment and exploitation. According to researchers, Homo sapiens, commonly known as modern humans, are believed to have emerged approximately 200,000 years ago. However, it is important to note that only a fraction of that time, specifically 195,000 years, has been documented and recorded. This means that an astounding 97% of our history remains largely unknown and undocumented. Throughout this extensive period, numerous significant events have taken place, and countless civilizations have risen and fallen. Unfortunately, due to the lack of tangible evidence left behind, we are unable to fully comprehend the existence and influence of these civilizations on our ancestors. It is a profound realization that the vast majority of our past, spanning thousands of years, remains shrouded in mystery. With each passing century, countless civilizations and their achievements have faded into obscurity, leaving us with only fragments of their legacy. The untold stories and untapped knowledge of these civilizations have become lost chapters in the epic tale of human history. According to certain researchers, it has been suggested that civilizations from the past have left behind intriguing symbols, drawings, and markings, which can serve as valuable clues in unraveling their activities and way of life. However, in the realm of archaeology, some anomalous findings have emerged, challenging our established historical understanding. One such intriguing discovery is an enigmatic drawing that was unearthed within a cave situated in Japan. Delving into the depths of this topic, it becomes increasingly evident that these ancient civilizations possessed a language of symbols and depictions that carried profound meaning. These visual remnants provide a window into their world, allowing us to gain insights into their rituals, beliefs, communication systems, and perhaps even their artistic expressions. The British Exploring Society was among the pioneers in sharing this intriguing discovery on their social media accounts, prompting their followers to weigh in with their interpretations. Since then, numerous other social media platforms have also shared this discovery, leading many to observe the striking resemblance between the drawing and an advanced aircraft. Similar drawings have been unearthed in various corners of the globe, including ancient Egypt. The fact that different civilizations have depicted the same phenomenon has raised eyebrows and sparked curiosity. However, one of the challenges associated with these discoveries is their isolated nature, often leaving researchers with little contextual information to determine the time period in which the drawing was created or the exact intent of the artist. Despite this, there are groups of individuals who believe that these drawings actually portray enigmatic flying aircrafts. Proponents of this theory argue that such depictions do not align with anything else known from those time periods, as aircraft and aerial vehicles were not believed to exist during those eras. Interestingly, these peculiar objects appear in the detailed accounts of various ancient cultures, including the Egyptians, Indians, and Mayans. The ancient Indians referred to these objects as vimanas, and it is noteworthy that numerous ancient paintings and carvings depict these enigmatic entities. In the heart of Anlong County, located in the southwest region of China's Guizhou province, lies a series of pyramidal structures that have captivated archaeologists, historians, and enthusiasts alike. These pyramids, shrouded in mystery and local folklore, offer a glimpse into the region's ancient past and challenge conventional understandings of China's architectural history. The pyramids in Anlong County first came to the attention of the wider world in the late 20th and early 21st centuries. Local residents had long been aware of these structures, but it wasn't until more systematic archaeological surveys were conducted that their significance became apparent. These surveys revealed a series of large, pyramid-shaped mounds that bore striking similarities to other known pyramidal structures around the world, sparking a surge of interest and speculation. The pyramids of Anlong County are characterized by their distinct stepped design, similar to the style of Mesoamerican pyramids, such as those found in Teotihuacan and Mayan cities. Each pyramid consists of several terraced levels, constructed from layers of earth and stone. These terraces are supported by retaining walls made from large stone blocks, some of which weigh several tons. The largest pyramid in the region, often referred to as the Great Pyramid of Anlong, measures approximately 100 meters in base width and rises to a height of around 90 meters. Many who believe in the pyramid theory have said that the precision and scale of the construction suggest that these structures were built with significant engineering knowledge and labor resources. One prevailing theory about the pyramids of Anlong County is that they served as burial sites or tombs for local elites or leaders. Similar to the pyramids of Egypt and other ancient cultures, these structures may have been built to honor and protect the remains of important individuals. Believers have suggested that excavations could uncover burial chambers and artifacts within some of these pyramids, which would help further support this hypothesis. Some researchers propose that the pyramids may have also served a defensive function. The elevated terraces would have provided a strategic vantage point for monitoring and defending against potential threats. The robust construction of the pyramids, with their thick walls and fortified platforms, suggests that they could have been used as strongholds in times of conflict. The discovery of the pyramids in Anlong County challenges traditional views of ancient Chinese architecture. While China is renowned for its pagodas, palaces, and Great Wall, the existence of pyramidal structures indicates a diversity of architectural styles and influences that have yet to be fully explored. This finding prompts a re-evaluation of the cultural and technological exchanges that may have occurred between ancient China and other civilizations. The pyramids of Anlong County are still relatively understudied compared to other archaeological sites in China. Future research efforts are crucial to uncovering more about these mysterious structures. Advanced technologies, such as ground-penetrating radar, 3D mapping, and radiocarbon dating, can provide more detailed information about the construction techniques, age, and usage of the pyramids. Collaborative efforts between local authorities, international researchers, and academic institutions can help to ensure that the pyramids are studied comprehensively and preserved for future generations. Public interest and awareness can also play a vital role in protecting and promoting these archaeological treasures. Online discussions have been ongoing on the source of the peculiar mountain structures. Some individuals propose that they are prototypes of genuine pyramids, while others argue that they are natural formations or even ancient burial sites. Nevertheless, specialists have provided their insights on the issue, advising against excessive interpretation. Professor Zhou Qiuwen from Guizhou Normal University's School of Geography and Environmental Science was interviewed by Chinese media outlets. Zhou clarified that the mountain formations are natural occurrences and attributed their pyramid-like structure to the delicate craftsmanship of nature. Zhou explained that the rocks found in the Anlong pyramids are limestone structures that originated during the early to middle Triassic eras, dating back over 200 million years. The rocks were produced in a marine environment when minerals dissolved in water underwent recrystallization to form the various layers observed today as a result of periodic fluctuations in temperature and geology. Zhou clarified that the conical shape of the mountains is due to the karst topography of the area, which is defined by the presence of rocks that can dissolve in water. These materials are eroded vertically by water, leading to the creation of separate units from the initial mass of rock. The pyramid shape is characterized by steep peaks and broad bases, which result from ongoing erosion, mostly affecting the upper layers while causing less erosion at the bottom. Zhou clarified that the block-like features of the rocks, which resemble man-made architecture, are a result of geological processes in karst landscapes. These processes disintegrate layered rocks into smaller blocks, giving them the appearance of man-made structures. Interestingly, many researchers have pointed out that in China, a country with a rich and diverse history, archaeological research is often shrouded in secrecy and tightly controlled by the government. China has a long history of dynastic rule, each era contributing to the vast tapestry of its cultural heritage. However, not all periods of history align with the current political narrative promoted by the current party. The government has a vested interest in presenting a cohesive and glorified version of history that supports its legitimacy and continuity. Archaeological discoveries that contradict or complicate this narrative pose a threat to the carefully curated historical image. Nationalism plays a crucial role in modern China. Archaeological findings that reveal a complex and diverse historical landscape, including periods of foreign influence or internal strife, can undermine this narrative. By controlling archaeological research, the government can ensure that the discoveries reinforce, rather than challenge, the nationalistic narrative. China imposes strict regulations on archaeological excavations, requiring all research to be approved and often conducted under the supervision of government-appointed authorities. Independent archaeologists, particularly those from foreign institutions, face significant hurdles in gaining access to sites. These restrictions are designed to prevent unauthorized discoveries and the dissemination of information that could disrupt the official historical narrative. Even when excavations are permitted, the Chinese government retains tight control over the dissemination of findings. Selective disclosure of archaeological results allows the government to highlight discoveries that support its narrative while suppressing or reinterpreting those that do not. This control extends to academic publications, media reports, and public exhibitions, ensuring a consistent portrayal of China's history. One area of speculation involves ancient technological advancements. Some researchers suggest that China may have uncovered evidence of advanced technologies or knowledge that predates current historical timelines. Revealing such information could disrupt the conventional understanding of technological progress and challenge established historical narratives. By controlling access to these sites, the government can prevent potentially paradigm-shifting discoveries from coming to light. Certain historical periods, particularly those involving defeat, invasion, or internal conflict, are sensitive topics. Archaeological evidence from these times might contradict the official narrative of a continuous, unbroken, and triumphant Chinese civilization. By restricting access to these sites, the government can avoid confronting uncomfortable aspects of its history that could weaken its authority. The pyramids, now recognized as monumental feats of ancient engineering and architecture, were not always understood as such. When these awe-inspiring structures were first encountered by explorers and scholars, many believed them to be natural formations rather than the product of human ingenuity. The earliest recorded encounters with pyramids can be traced back to ancient times, but even then, their purpose and origin were often misunderstood. During the Middle Ages and the early modern period, European explorers who encountered pyramids in Egypt, Mesoamerica, and other regions often viewed these structures through the lens of their limited geological and architectural knowledge. The imposing size and geometric precision of the pyramids led some to speculate that they were natural geological formations. This theory was partly due to the lack of understanding of ancient engineering techniques and the inability to comprehend how pre-modern societies could achieve such feats. One reason behind the initial belief in pyramids as natural formations was their resemblance to certain geological structures. Some pyramids, especially those that had eroded or become partially buried over time, looked like hills or natural rock outcrops. This similarity to natural landforms made it plausible to early observers that they were naturally occurring. In the early days of archaeology, the methodologies and tools available to researchers were rudimentary compared to today's standards. Without advanced techniques like radiocarbon dating, ground-penetrating radar, and detailed excavation methods, early explorers had limited means to investigate the true nature of these structures. This lack of sophisticated archaeological knowledge contributed to the misinterpretation of pyramids as natural features. The Eurocentric perspective of many early explorers also played a role in the misinterpretation of pyramids. The idea that ancient civilizations, particularly those outside of Europe, could construct such monumental and precise structures was often met with skepticism. This cultural bias led to the underestimation of the architectural and engineering capabilities of non-European societies. The shift from viewing pyramids as natural formations to recognizing them as man-made structures began with advancements in archaeological methods and the systematic study of ancient sites. The 19th and early 20th centuries saw significant progress in archaeology, driven by scholars like Flinders Petrie, who applied rigorous scientific techniques to the study of Egyptian pyramids. Detailed excavations revealed the construction methods and materials used in pyramid building. Archaeologists uncovered quarries, tools, workers' villages, and inscriptions that provided clear evidence of human involvement. These findings debunked the natural formation theory and demonstrated the sophisticated engineering skills of ancient builders. The integration of historical and cultural context into archaeological studies further solidified the understanding of pyramids as man-made structures. Scholars examined ancient texts, inscriptions, and oral traditions that described the construction and purpose of pyramids. This contextual approach provided a comprehensive view of the social, religious, and political significance of these structures. The realization that pyramids were the product of human effort and ingenuity had profound implications for our understanding of ancient civilizations. It highlighted the advanced engineering, organizational, and artistic skills of societies like the Egyptians, Maya, and Aztecs. This recognition challenged the prevailing Eurocentric views and acknowledged the contributions of diverse cultures to human progress. The study of ancient pyramids has inspired modern engineering and architecture. The precision and durability of these structures continue to amaze and influence contemporary builders and designers. Lessons learned from the construction techniques and materials used in pyramids have informed modern practices in various fields. Correcting the misconception of pyramids as natural formations has improved the accuracy of historical narratives. It has enabled a more nuanced understanding of the development of human societies, their technological advancements, and their cultural achievements. This shift has fostered a more inclusive and accurate portrayal of global history. The transformation from viewing pyramids as natural formations to recognizing them as man-made marvels reflects the evolution of archaeological knowledge and the importance of overcoming cultural biases. Advances in scientific techniques, detailed excavations, and a contextual understanding of ancient societies have revealed the true nature of these monumental structures. The recognition of pyramids as products of human ingenuity has deepened our appreciation for the achievements of ancient civilizations and has had lasting implications for both historical scholarship and modern engineering. In the history of space exploration, few moments capture the imagination and spark as much intrigue as the revelation of unexpected and unexplained phenomena. One such moment occurred when an astronaut shared a mysterious photograph that appeared to show a massive ship inside a crater on the Moon. This photograph, which quickly became the subject of intense speculation and debate, raises profound questions about the nature of our lunar neighbor and the potential for extraterrestrial activity. The photograph in question was taken during one of the numerous missions to the Moon, though the exact mission remains a closely guarded secret, adding to the mystery. The image shows a large, shadowy object nestled within the confines of a lunar crater, its angular lines and distinct features standing in stark contrast to the natural surroundings. The object, which some have described as resembling a spacecraft, appears to be partially buried in lunar dust and debris, suggesting that it has been there for a considerable period. On the other hand, because of the large quantity of images that have been taken from spacecraft, a number of amateur researchers have spent endless hours searching through these photographs in the hope of discovering something peculiar, and these researchers have said that this isn't the first time that strange objects have been found. This image was taken by the Apollo 15 spacecraft, and those who have made measurements have said that the object in question measures over 6 miles long. Other amateur researchers have come forward in recent years and claim to have discovered objects that appear to be similar to those found in old photographs. They assert that this demonstrates that there is more going on than what we are being told about, and in some instances, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration is even editing out these images in the hope that we will not see them. Researchers who are just starting out claim that they do this because they believe that if the bulk of the populace were to learn about these things, they would immediately become extremely anxious. Over the past few years, NASA has come forward to assert that these assertions cannot be substantiated, and that they have never attempted to conceal irregularities in their images through the use of image editing software or airbrushing. According to amateur researchers, if you spend enough time looking for them, you will eventually find them on your own. Despite the fact that scientists have stated that it is their responsibility to unearth discoveries of this nature and to assist in advancing our knowledge, they have never discovered anything that is of interest or that cannot be explained in all of the years that they have spent performing their research. There are also substantial implications for future space exploration and the quest for life beyond Earth that are associated with the potential of an extraterrestrial presence on the Moon. If this were to occur, it would cause a re-evaluation of the current goals and tactics for lunar exploration, which may potentially lead to increased attempts to investigate and map the surface of the Moon by providing more specific information. Furthermore, it would stimulate interest in conducting similar research on other celestial planets, such as Mars and the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, for the purpose of discovering evidence of extraterrestrial activity that may have occurred in the past or may be occurring at the present time. Even while the snapshot has caused a lot of excitement and speculation, there are still a lot of questions that have not been answered. The precise nature of the object that was found in the crater, as well as its origin, continue to be shrouded in mystery, and there is no conclusive evidence to either confirm or disprove the numerous ideas. Further suspicion and conspiracy theories have been fostered by the fact that the mission and the identity of the astronaut have been kept secret. Some people have suggested that the photograph is a part of a broader cover-up of extraterrestrial activity. As of right now, the strange photograph that was provided by an astronaut and showed a massive ship inside of a crater on the Moon has captivated the imagination and caused significant debate. However, proponents of the alien theory point to the object's distinct features and symmetrical shape as proof of an artificial origin. Skeptics believe that the image is just our eyes playing tricks on us, while proponents of the hypothesis point to the object's symmetrical shape. This snapshot raises significant issues regarding the potential for extraterrestrial activity on the Moon, as well as the future of space exploration. These questions are raised regardless of the true nature of the item described in the photograph. The mysteries of the lunar surface serve as a reminder that we are still at the beginning of our journey to understand the universe and our place within it. This is something that we are reminded of as we continue to explore the infinite universe. Mysterious object seen during NASA's 1960 Mercury mission. In the early 1960s, the dawn of the space age heralded unprecedented advancements in human exploration beyond our planet. As the United States and the Soviet Union vied for dominance in space, NASA's Mercury missions became the first American forays into this new frontier. Among these groundbreaking missions, the 1960 Mercury mission stood out not just for its technical achievements, but also for the extraordinary and controversial reports of unidentified flying objects seen during the mission. These sightings have fueled decades of speculation, debate, and fascination, suggesting that humanity may not be alone in the cosmos. An image from NASA's Mercury mission, dating back over 60 years, has reignited speculation about UFO sightings and suspicions of extraterrestrial planes. An amateur researcher alleges to have discovered something peculiar in the picture, which was published on NASA's official website. The photographs were captured by the unmanned NASA spacecraft during the Project Mercury mission, which began in 1958 and concluded in 1963. According to the person who discovered the image, the unidentified object in the background is purportedly an extraterrestrial spacecraft that was hovering in orbit to observe the Mercury capsule. The researcher, who claimed to have dedicated much time examining NASA albums, announced the discovery of a disk in certain photographs from the Mercury mission. Initial reports of anomalous sightings were relayed by terrestrial radar operators who saw unidentified objects exhibiting extraordinary velocities in close proximity to the flight path of the Mercury spacecraft. These objects had flying patterns and velocities that were beyond the capability of any known aircraft created by humans at that time. Following the initial excitement and bewilderment, these radar blips were promptly confirmed by visual sightings from both mission control officers and astronomers who had been monitoring the spacecraft's trajectory. Inside the spaceship, the telemetry data captured a sequence of abnormal signals. External monitoring instruments detected inexplicable variations in radiation levels and electromagnetic interference. In addition, the cameras on board recorded brief photos of unidentifiable objects, distinguished by their unique forms and swift motions. Despite their hazy and blurred quality, these photographs depicted unidentified saucer-like structures and cylindrical forms that did not correspond to any recognized space junk or man-made satellites. A particularly convincing piece of evidence was obtained during the post-mission debriefing of the mission's controllers and scientists. Multiple essential individuals witnessed luminous objects that seemed to follow closely behind the Mercury spacecraft during its mission. The objects, characterized by their emission of a pulsating light, appeared to navigate with discernment and intention, consistently maintaining a fixed distance from the capsule. The observations were sufficiently clear and reliable to justify an internal examination conducted by NASA. NASA's official explanation at the time indicated that the sightings were probably attributable to optical illusions, reflections, or space debris. Nevertheless, this explanation failed to alleviate the increasing conjecture and fascination around the tragedy. Doubters contended that the abundance and uniformity of the observations, along with the supporting radar and telemetry information, indicated something much more remarkable than mere misidentifications. The object outside the International Space Station. Back in 2017, a huge object was caught outside of the International Space Station. This extraordinary incident, witnessed by thousands of people around the world via the space station's live stream, offers a compelling case for the existence of extraterrestrial technology. On a seemingly ordinary day, as the space station orbited Earth, the station's live feed, which regularly broadcasts stunning views of our planet, unexpectedly captured something unprecedented. Viewers noticed a colossal, disc-shaped object hovering near the space station. Unlike the usual space debris or meteors that occasionally appear, this object was distinct, with a structured and symmetrical form, suggesting an artificial origin. The sighting lasted for several minutes before the object slowly moved out of the camera's field of view, disappearing into the vastness of space. The immediate reaction from the global audience was a mixture of awe, excitement, and skepticism. Social media platforms buzzed with discussions as amateur astronomers and UFO enthusiasts meticulously analyzed the footage. Many pointed out the object's size, estimated to be several hundred meters in diameter, and its smooth metallic surface, which reflected the sunlight in a way that natural celestial bodies do not. The sheer scale and appearance of the object led many to conclude that it was not a piece of human-made space junk, but something far more extraordinary. While some attempted to provide conventional explanations, such as an unusual reflection of light or a misidentified satellite, these theories fell short of addressing the object's distinct characteristics. The structured symmetry and deliberate movement of the UFO suggested an advanced level of engineering far beyond current human capabilities. Moreover, the context of the sighting added to its credibility. The International Space Station is equipped with some of the most advanced surveillance and observational technology available, designed to capture high-resolution images and videos of space. The live feed is monitored by a team of experts who are trained to recognize and identify various objects and phenomena in space. The fact that this object appeared so clearly and was captured in such detail by the space station cameras indicates that it was not a simple optical illusion or camera malfunction. This sighting also brings to mind the numerous historical accounts of UFOs reported by astronauts and cosmonauts. From the early days of space exploration, there have been numerous reports of strange objects observed during missions. For example, NASA astronauts such as Gordon Cooper and Edgar Mitchell have publicly spoken about their experiences with UFOs, lending further credibility to the possibility of extraterrestrial encounters. The recent sighting can be seen as part of this continuum of unexplained phenomena in space. The implications of this sighting are profound and far-reaching. If the object captured by the space station's live camera is indeed an extraterrestrial spacecraft, it would suggest that advanced civilizations exist beyond Earth and possess the technology to traverse the vast distances of space. This realization would fundamentally alter our understanding of the universe and our place within it. It would prompt a re-evaluation of our scientific theories and technological aspirations as we strive to comprehend and possibly replicate such advanced engineering. Furthermore, the sighting raises important questions about the intentions and motivations of these potential extraterrestrial visitors. Are they merely observing us, or do they have a more active interest in humanity and our development? The presence of such a large and advanced spacecraft near the space stations suggests a level of curiosity and perhaps even concern for our activities in space. It underscores the need for greater transparency and cooperation among global space agencies in sharing information and resources to understand these phenomena. In response to the sighting, there have been calls for a thorough investigation by an international coalition of space agencies, scientists, and researchers. This collaborative approach would help ensure that the analysis is comprehensive and unbiased, leveraging the expertise and technology of multiple countries to uncover the truth behind the sighting. Additionally, it would foster a spirit of global unity and shared purpose in addressing one of the most significant questions of our time. Are we alone in the universe? The mysterious UFO searchlight encounter. The recurring observations of a circular disc-shaped entity in the vicinity of Norwood, situated near Cincinnati in Ohio, have often been overshadowed by more popularized incidents of that period. Nonetheless, this particular occurrence stands out as notably captivating among the less remembered instances. The mysterious presence of the circular object has perplexed locals and experts alike, hinting at a deeper mystery that has puzzled investigators for years. This peculiar entity was observed multiple times over an extended period spanning several months. Moreover, these sightings frequently triggered a surge of incoming calls to the editorial departments of renowned newspapers like the Cincinnati Post and the Cincinnati Enquirer, with eager and anxious locals reaching out to report their encounters. The phenomenon captured the attention of the community and sparked widespread discussions, fueling both fascination and apprehension among the residents. The mysterious nature of the object led to heightened curiosity and a flurry of speculative theories circulating within the populace. During the sightings, an intriguing detail surfaced as one witness vividly remembered observing triangular-shaped objects emerging from the vast, circular crafts. This observation is particularly noteworthy as triangular objects were not as commonly reported back then compared to their prevalence in contemporary accounts. The emergence of these distinct triangular shapes added a new dimension to the already mysterious phenomenon, sparking curiosity among researchers and enthusiasts alike. Numerous sightings of these phenomena were documented through photographs and, in some cases, video recordings, capturing the attention of a multitude of onlookers. This diverse group of witnesses hailed from various segments of society, including everyday individuals, law enforcement personnel, military personnel, religious figures such as clergy and congregation members, and numerous representatives from the media outlets. The sightings garnered immense public interest and sparked curiosity across different societal spheres. This broad spectrum of observers highlights the widespread nature of these peculiar occurrences and underlines the significant impact they had on society as a whole. On the evening of the 19th of August 1949 in Norwood, located near Cincinnati, Ohio, a series of events unfolded. Reverend Gregory Miller, serving as the pastor of St. Peter and Paul Church, was deeply engrossed in supervising the Jitney Carnival being held on the church premises. Interestingly, he had made preparations for the acquisition of a searchlight with military attributes for the event. During the carnival festivities, just past 8 in the evening, Sergeant Donald Berger from the University of Cincinnati was in charge of the searchlight, scanning the sky. Abruptly, the beam illuminated a distinct, circular object suspended above. As Berger maintained the focus of the searchlight on the object, numerous carnival attendees also observed the peculiar spacecraft hovering in the air. The incident stirred curiosity and intrigue among the crowd as they gazed at the unidentified object under the vigilant eye of Sergeant Berger and pondered the possible origins and nature of the strange craft. Local media outlets covered the occurrence extensively in their publications the subsequent day. According to the Cincinnati Post, there were peculiar sightings described as balls of fire hovering above Cincinnati throughout the night. An official from the Weather Bureau, who personally witnessed the event, noted that these unidentified objects bore resemblance to weather balloons, with the notable difference being their complete stillness, despite the considerable wind conditions that prevailed that evening. Furthermore, these mysterious objects exhibited a unique behavior of intermittently brightening and dimming over multiple cycles, adding to the intrigue of the situation. The detailed reports in the newspapers painted a vivid picture of the unusual phenomenon that captured the attention and curiosity of the local population. The initial observation marked the commencement of a series of sightings that continued to transpire throughout the subsequent weeks. Just prior, at approximately 7 in the evening, an unusual event unfolded at the St. Gertrude Church in Madeira. A peculiar entity was observed traversing the skies at an elevation ranging between 15,000 to 20,000 feet. Within moments, the mysterious object abruptly ascended vertically, vanishing into the heavens as though it had been swiftly pulled by an imperceptible force. Subsequently, it reappeared at a significantly greater altitude before disappearing once more shortly thereafter. The perplexing nature of the sighting left witnesses intrigued and bewildered, pondering the mysterious occurrence that transpired that evening. This occurrence, witnessed by onlookers, raised questions and sparked curiosity about the unexplained phenomena that occasionally captivate our attention. 6 nights later, at approximately 7 in the evening, another similar incident occurred in Milford, Ohio, where an object closely resembling the previous sighting was observed during a searchlight test. As the beam of light traversed the sky, it illuminated a white, circular object that seemed to be stationary above. Intriguingly, when the searchlight was turned off momentarily, the mysterious object vanished from sight, suggesting it was only visible under specific conditions. Subsequently, the object swiftly departed the scene, leaving observers pondering over its strange nature and abrupt disappearance. This occurrence added another perplexing layer to the series of events, deepening the mystery surrounding the unidentified flying object sightings in the area. On the eventful evening of October 23rd, an exceptionally detailed and captivating sighting unfolded once again at the St. Peter and Paul Church in Norwood. Reverend Miller found himself in the company of a diverse group of individuals, among them the esteemed managing editor of the Cincinnati Post, Robert Lynn, accompanied by the presence of a dedicated Post reporter, Leo Hurt, and accomplished businessman, William Winkler. The scene was imbued with a sense of curiosity and intrigue, as these notable figures bore witness to an event that would etch itself into their memories. The unidentified object made its initial appearance at approximately 7 in the evening and remained consistently visible thereafter. Miller reported the sighting to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, where an intelligence officer meticulously recorded all relevant details and information about the incident. The sighting of this object prompted swift action and thorough documentation by the military personnel involved. At approximately 10 in the evening, the observation of unidentified flying objects became increasingly intriguing. Onlookers were astonished as multiple triangular-shaped entities emerged from a larger disc-shaped craft. These entities seemed to depart the main object by traversing a peculiar beam before veering off its course. One observer vividly likened these peculiar objects to the pointed tip of an arrowhead. The event unfolded with an air of mystique and bewilderment, capturing the attention and curiosity of those present. During an extensive period lasting approximately 30 minutes, they persistently circled the sky before eventually, it is assumed, rejoining the primary entity. More than 50 individuals were present during the occurrences that night. Despite the abundance of witnesses and the profoundly peculiar circumstances surrounding the incident, not everyone was easily persuaded that something out of the ordinary had occurred. The skepticism persisted, even in the face of overwhelming evidence. In an article featured in the Cincinnati Post, Dr. Wells, an esteemed physics professor at the University of Cincinnati, boldly refuted the extraordinary claims by attributing the sighting to a mere optical illusion. This revelation shed a new light on the mysterious event, introducing a scientific rationale that challenged the prevailing belief in the supernatural. Leo Hertel, a columnist for the Cincinnati Post, made astonishing assertions claiming that the seemingly small objects observed by people were simply geese. In response, Miller vehemently argued that geese seldom possess taillights. This conversation between Hertel and Miller sparked a debate regarding the nature of these mysterious objects. Intriguingly, while a significant number of individuals present during the unfolding of the sighting remained skeptical, there were subsequent sightings that added to the mystery. Notably, on the evening following the initial event, another sighting occurred at the same spot. Among the witnesses, Ed Tepe, the mayor of Norwood, provided a detailed account, emphasizing that the object in question appeared substantial and even mentioned the presence of ridges on its surface. This series of events not only raised doubts among some observers, but also sparked curiosity and speculation within the community. Tepe's clear description of the object being perceived as a tangible entity with distinct features added layers of complexity to the unfolding narrative, prompting further discussion and analysis. On the evening of the 19th of November, in Norwood, Miller found himself once again gazing up at the vast expanse of the sky, diligently scanning with the searchlight. It was a little past 7 in the evening when his eyes locked onto the familiar circular object hovering above. Intriguingly, after a brief period, the object abruptly vanished as though someone had flicked a switch, leaving Miller and the other witnesses bewildered. To their surprise, within a minute or so, the mysterious object reappeared, this time positioned significantly higher in the sky, defying logic. Astonishingly, it lingered in its new location for several hours, a spectacle that captivated all those present, including the notable William Winkler, solidifying the mysterious nature of the sighting. On the evening of December 20th, approximately a month later, another observation took place in Norwood. It was slightly past 8 when Miller activated the searchlight and promptly aimed it at the stationary aircraft in the sky. Initially, the object seemed quite distant, but as the night progressed, it gradually grew larger in the sky before vanishing a little past 10. This event sparked intrigue and speculation as witnesses pondered the nature of the mysterious craft and its sudden appearance. As the searchlight illuminated the surrounding area, revealing intricate details of the hovering object, onlookers couldn't help but marvel at the surreal sight unfolding before them. The sighting of the unidentified flying object left a lasting impression on those present, prompting discussions and theories about the possible origins or purposes of the mysterious aerial phenomenon. In the initial weeks of 1950, another sighting was reported in Norwood on the night of January 11th. Once again, Miller activated the searchlight at 7:30 and commenced scanning the skies. However, it took him about 15 minutes to spot the familiar object hovering above. It remained clearly visible for an additional 15 minutes before slightly dimming, though still observable. Adding to the intrigue, throughout the evening, multiple observers witnessed what they described as smaller objects moving across the sky, especially as they intersected with the searchlight's beam. This series of events raised curiosity and speculation about the nature and origin of these aerial phenomena. The reports from that night triggered discussions and further investigations into the mysterious sightings that captured the attention of both local residents and experts in the field. The sequence of events on that particular evening sparked a flurry of theories and conjectures, leading to a deeper exploration of the phenomenon and its possible implications. Following a period of calm, there was a resurgence of UFO sightings after several weeks, when a new incident was documented in Norwood at approximately 8 in the evening on March 9th. The observer, Miller, quickly identified an unidentified object as he scanned the skies with a searchlight. This object remained stationary for about 45 minutes before two smaller objects emerged directly from it. As these smaller crafts detached, the main disc-shaped craft seemed to move away momentarily, but later returned to its original position, lingering in the sky until around 10 in the evening. Interestingly, none of the witnesses mentioned seeing the two smaller objects reappear, adding a mysterious element to the sighting. This event not only intrigued the witnesses, but also left them baffled by the strange, unexplained phenomenon that played out before their eyes, deepening the mystery surrounding the unidentified aerial craft encounter in Norwood. Upon the subsequent evening, Miller managed to capture sight of the unidentified object yet again, this time occurring at approximately 7 in the evening. Strangely, it maintained a stationary position, suspended in the air without any movement, for approximately 45 minutes before gradually drifting away from the illuminated area and eventually vanishing. Surprisingly, the object re-emerged after 30 minutes had elapsed, appearing in precisely the same location where it was first observed. Curiously, it stayed in that same spot until around 11 in the evening, without exhibiting any discernible changes or actions throughout this period. In the vicinity of Norwood, the latest documented observation marked the conclusion of a series of reports. The nature of the entity under scrutiny continues to baffle observers, maintaining its status as a mystery. The accounts of Scott and his family. Back in November of 1991, an individual would join a support group after claiming to have been taken by mysterious entities over the course of his entire life. According to the man, who chose to go by the name Scott, he claimed that he only started to remember the events after years of suffering from terrible nightmares that appeared to have exacerbated feelings of both stress and anxiety. When dwelling on the nightmares for several years, the memories of strange humanoid creatures entering into his room started coming back to him, but remained cloudy, as if he had been waking up from a dream. According to Scott, the first event that he could remember occurred sometime back in April of 1990, in which he claimed that a group of small beings he would refer to as short guys would enter his room in seemingly impossible ways. Although at first he was unsure, Scott believed the beings to have been connected with visions of hovering flying saucers and strange lights in the sky, as he claimed to have another hazy memory of having encountered a flying saucer when he was only 10 years old. Desperate to figure out the cause of these strange memories and sudden anxieties, Scott attended several sessions with a therapist who would later refer Scott to a hypnosis psychiatrist who specializes in these types of cases. It was during these several months of hypnosis sessions that Scott would slowly remember many of these bizarre experiences in vivid detail. The oldest experience that Scott was able to remember during this time occurred when he was only 3 years old. According to Scott, he remembered playing in a dirt area outside of his home with his trucks when he realized that he was all alone. With his parents inside the house, Scott was having fun moving his trucks through the dirt and pretending to transport mounds of dirt to different areas when he saw movement out of the corner of his eye. The property that Scott was playing at rested adjacent to an untamed wilderness area, and it was near the brush and trees of the adjacent wilderness that Scott claimed to have seen two humanoid beings appear from seemingly out of nowhere. Being only 3 years old, Scott was unsure how to react to the situation, and so continued looking over at the strange beings that he described as appearing to have had large ant-like heads with large ant-like eyes, atop tiny humanoid bodies only slightly taller than he was. As he continued staring at the creatures, Scott would claim that one of the ant-like beings pulled out a strange-looking metal rod that he waved in Scott's direction and instantly caused him to fall asleep. He would then wake up an indeterminate amount of time later, laying down in the sand with his trucks and no one else around him. Terrified of what he encountered, Scott ran to his house and told his mother that he had fallen asleep after seeing monsters. Confused as to what Scott was trying to tell her, Scott's mother dismissed the sighting as nothing more than a dream that Scott had had while he was playing in the dirt. Frustrated by his inability to tell his mum what had happened, Scott would shout at his mum, saying that there were bugs around him, and would continue saying this over the course of several weeks before forgetting about the encounter entirely due to some unknown reasons. Several years following this incident, Scott would begin to complain to his parents about throbbing headaches that would plague him for the rest of his life. Originally starting when he was only 6 years old, Scott was believed to have suffered from strange spells or seizures that he would describe to his parents as strange feelings, spacing out, or sudden confusional episodes, where he would be unable to know where he was or what he was doing. At first, the parents thought nothing of the headaches and sudden attacks of confusion, believing it was common for a young child to have momentary lapses. It would not be for another 2 years until Scott was diagnosed, at the age of 8, with a condition referred to as atypical migraine. Despite the doctors not knowing exactly what Scott was suffering from, he would be forced to take mild painkillers until high school to deal with the sudden headaches. It was at around the age of 8 that doctors decided to take a few readings from an electroencephalogram, also known as an EEG, to get readings of Scott's brainwaves. Although his brainwaves were typical, it was during his sudden migraines that Scott's brainwaves suddenly began to show abnormal readings, as if he was no longer in a conscious state and would abruptly enter a stage between conscious and unconscious, commonly seen in patients of hypnotic regressions. Confused as to what they were seeing, the doctors assumed that the condition was being caused by mild seizures and would prescribe Scott with anticonvulsant medication that had very little effect on his confusion episodes. It was around his 9th birthday that Scott would suffer from another event that he would not recall for many years later. According to Scott, he and his sister Lee would often play outside in this hidden area they referred to as the gully. It was at the gully that Scott and his sister would claim to have witnessed a flying saucer and strange lights in the sky that moved erratically. Scott's sister Lee would also recall the events and claimed that she had believed the gully to have been a very special place and that the hovering ships had visited them several times while they were alone. It would not be until Scott was around 12 to 13 that he would claim to suffer from vivid hallucinations. Although Scott was unaware of his hallucinations, notes from medical professionals concerning his case had written down what he had told his doctors during a routine checkup. According to the doctor's notes, Scott had complained of seeing a spinning coloured triangle and a feminine figure staring at him standing over his bed while he was trying to sleep. Other recorded hallucinations claim that Scott had seen this feminine figure at other times, standing near him while he had been outdoors and standing outside a car door when he had been camping and sleeping within the car. Doctors were hesitant to connect the sightings with the migraines, as they were unsure of whether or not the hallucinations were merely misremembered nightmares, but by age 15, Scott's medical records would describe these episodes and claim that one of the symptoms of his illness was visual hallucinations. By the time Scott turned 19, he felt increasingly dissatisfied with medical professionals and claimed that his doctors were practicing hit-or-miss medicine practices, a slang term that meant the doctors had no idea what they were doing and were merely prescribing any kind of medication to solve Scott's problems. His last visit would occur sometime around this time, when a visit to the doctor would reveal normal EEG signatures and his prescription medication would be discontinued. Scott would never visit a doctor for his migraines for the foreseeable future. Scott would later believe that the strange migraines and shifts of consciousness were somehow connected to the incidents, and that whenever his head was hurt, he was opening up a two-way telepathic channel between his thoughts and a nearby extraterrestrials. According to Scott, when the strange humanoid creatures would visit, the creatures would often communicate with him via an unknown and mysterious ability that acted like a two-way channel. He was aware that the creatures could see into his mind and hear his thoughts, and he was also able to see into their mind and hear their thoughts, but because their minds were so different, it would cause severe migraines and be nearly impossible to decipher. When using hypnotic regression, Scott was able to remember an incident that he would refer to as a biggie that had occurred when he was around 10 years old. As Scott was sleeping in his room, he awoke to a strange humming sound and saw what he described as a huge flying saucer hovering outside his bedroom, visible from his bedroom window. As he was staring at the flying saucer, a group of the small humanoid beings entered his room through the hallway. The family dog, which had been barking and growling at the creatures, was immediately knocked out and put to sleep when one of the creatures waved a rod in the dog's direction, causing it to fall asleep in the hallway at their feet. As the creatures filed into Scott's room, they waved the rod over him, causing him to suddenly enter into an almost dreamlike state of consciousness. Once they were done, the creatures started filing out of the room and heading upstairs to Scott's parents' room. Fearing that the creatures were going to hurt his parents, Scott ran upstairs but noticed that the creatures had already disappeared and ran into his parents' room, where he told them that aliens had entered his room and were coming to kill them. The parents, having heard impossible to explain noises only moments prior, got up and grabbed their two kids as Henry, Scott's father, grabbed his gun and ran outside the house to shoot at the flying saucer. By the time Henry got outside, the craft had already disappeared and the creatures were nowhere to be seen. Curious as to the truth surrounding the event, Scott's psychiatrist connected Scott's parents and asked them if they remembered the event as he described. Emily, Scott's mother, would not only write back that she remembered the event, but that she believed that the incidents had occurred and were not fabrications. The last scenario that Scott was able to remember had occurred to him only 3 years prior to him seeking professional help. Scott would consider this event the catalyst that was so traumatic it was most likely what triggered his memories of all of his past experiences to come to the surface. After a series of hypnotic regressions, Scott was able to describe the event in vivid detail. According to Scott, it was sometime in April of 1990 that as he was getting ready for bed, he felt a sudden intense feeling of anxiety come over him. In order to try to cool down, Scott grabbed a nearby magazine and was flipping through the pages reading when he started to feel his mind open up as if a two-way communication channel had emerged within him. He would later describe the feeling as if he knew that the beings were suddenly there inside his mind. Fearing that they would soon invade his room, Scott would begin to panic and attempt to leave the area before soon realizing that he did not appear to be in control of his body. Looking over at his bedroom door, he remarked that it was as if the door vanished into thin air, as he could see the reflections of an unexplainable light bouncing off the wall coming from the inside of a nearby room. As he continued staring at the doorway, Scott described 6 of the extraterrestrial creatures that entered, claiming that their bodies looked boxy and their heads were strangely angular and triangular. It was at this point that one of the creatures pushed a round-tipped rob in Scott's direction, causing him to instantly become anesthetized from any feelings of pain or discomfort, but still conscious of the entire encounter. As the creatures were touching him with the rob behind his ear, causing him to no longer be able to move an inch of his body, he claimed to feel a buzzing coming from the inside of his right ear that slowly grew into a ringing sound. Scott then described his vision as appearing to have been similar to a TV monitor that was lagging, only capturing frames and glitches of vision at a time. Scott would then describe the feeling in his head as if he was battling to prevent the creatures from being able to touch his mind and peer into his memories and thoughts. But before he could successfully ward off the mental invasion, he fell unconscious. When Scott finally came to, he found himself strapped down onto a metal table, surrounded by 2 humanoid figures that appeared to have been doctor-like in appearance, wearing strange glasses on their face, white coats with off-tan and white-tinted skin. Surrounding the doctor-like entities, Scott claimed to have seen several shooter beings in what he believed were army-like suits. These creatures were described as having deep black and slightly slanted eyes with grey borders at the edges of their eyes. Panicked by the sight, Scott asked the creatures who or what they were, but they refused to answer, and instead replied with a question in Scott's mind, stating that they were curious as to what Scott was. It was after this short exchange that the creatures placed a faucet-like device onto Scott's private area, with a suction-like device being attached towards the end. According to Scott, the device appeared to have been connected to a box located at the side of a surgical table via a plastic tube. As he tried to fight against the creatures, he could see a reflection of himself hovering above him, as if he was staring into a large mirror. He then noticed in the reflection that his head was resting on a block-like pillow, and 4 metal surgical prongs were being pressed into his neck, high up, just slightly below his scalp. Although uncertain as to what the metal prongs were accomplishing, Scott assumed that the prongs were actually some form of electrodes that were planted at the base of his skull to manipulate him and control his movements and feelings. Shortly after looking into his reflection, the creatures would soon turn on the device and begin extracting copious amounts of Scott's DNA. The forceful extraction caused terrible pain as he began questioning why the creatures were doing this to him. It was at this point that the beings began to communicate telepathically with Scott and telling him that they were going to use his DNA for experiments. Unsure of what they meant, they clarified to Scott, telling him that they were going to use him as a father so that they could make babies with Scott's genetic material for future purposes, though failed to elaborate what those purposes could be. Shortly thereafter, Scott would pass out from the pain and awake in his room the next morning with several bruises and pins in his body that appeared similar to shots and surgical marks. Oddly enough, when Scott started to attend the routine hypnotic sessions, Scott's sister, Lee, also chose to attend a session of her own, as she believed that she had suffered the same fate in the past by these impossible-to-explain creatures. Unfortunately, any information surrounding Scott's sister is unknown, though Scott believes that his sister and possibly his mother had suffered from similar events in the past, but are unaware of their experiences, similar to how he had been before opening his mental block. Although it's impossible to know for certain, Scott believes that the creatures were planning on using harvested sperm to create hybrid creatures that could one day take over the planet and have the genetic composition and health necessary to adapt to our planet's climate.